Hello everyone. Thank you for joining me today. I wanted to show my mini album recipe box, or my idea box as I've been calling it. I'm really excited to show you what is in here and how I use this. Just real quickly, kind of go over how this box came together. On the top of it here, I just kind of decorated it with scraps that I had left over when I was creating the cards that are on the inside of it, and a couple of the elements that I really liked from the SVG set that I have. I'll be going over that with you as well. And then here on the end, if you can see here, I put this little handle here that this is just some hardware I had bought for a different kind of project that I did a year or two ago. And you can never, when you buy things like this, it always comes like in a pack of 10, right? And I only needed one. So it's just been sitting here in my craft room, and I thought, how perfect is that for just a extra little element on this box. Now the box itself, I know I'm probably going to get a lot of questions on it. Honestly, it is from something that I ordered off of Amazon a while ago. And sometimes don't you just get that most perfect box and you just can't get rid of it. You just know that you'll be able to use it for something. So yeah, unfortunately, I would love to be able to send you a link on where to find it, but it was packaging that came from Amazon. But it worked out perfect for my purposes here for my recipe cards. So many of you commented on my video where I do the walkthrough on my 8x8 rose album. And then I think I had a couple of comments on my Seed Dream mini album asking for if I was going to do a tutorial on how I did my albums. And so I wanted to start off with this first and just kind of show where I kind of draw my inspiration from and some of my ideas. What I did is I created these recipe cards for my favorite styles of the pages that I use in my mini albums that I use over and over. And so let's go ahead and open this up and I'll show you what I've done. All right, so this first one here is a really simple style. I've used a ribbon on it this time. Sometimes I just use magnets on the inside, and this just opens up. The flaps pull out, and then I made myself some 4x6 picture cards just to represent where photos might go. The inside could be for more photos or for journaling. Sometimes I will use magnetic closures on some of these elements. This time I just used a ribbon. And then on the back of each of these cards, so the reason I called them a recipe card is I went ahead and listed all the dimensions of how I cut them out, what sizes I need. That way it makes it super quick and easy to be able to replicate. The math is already done for me. Most of my albums and my favorite sizes that I use are, it starts with a base page that is 8 1/4 by 8 1/4. And then for this particular design, I have that I'm going to need 2 cardstock at 4 3/4 by 6 1/4, and then score them at 1 1/2. So, and then down at the pattern paper, I have my pattern paper sizes that I need and a little note ribbon for closure. Again, sometimes I use magnets. So it just made it really quick and easy. If I want to replicate this page, I don't have to sit there and figure out the math. I already have everything that I need to be able to just cut them out and go with it. And so again, I just chose some of my favorite things that I like to put in my mini albums. This one here has pockets, the little slide out, again, a little stamped camera just to represent where a photo might go. This one I left blank because I might put journaling or something there. And then I have my dimensions for my cutting guide right here on the back. This one here is just the double pocket. Have these two little cards. These are all elements that came with this paper pack that I used. This one here is an actual fold out card. Again, you can journaling or a picture, whichever one. And my cutting guides on the back. And this one is a very, very popular one. You see very often many albums, the waterfall card for pictures. Now, I don't know if it shows up very well here on my camera, but there is some warping on my cardstock here. Generally, when I am putting my mini albums together, I like to use score tape. For whatever reason, I'm not sure why, I was using score tape on everything. For this particular idea card I was making, I grabbed my art glitter glue, which I also love. I use it quite a bit. I think I was really heavy-handed when I used it on this pattern paper and glued it down. If you can see it in there, this is pretty warped. And yeah, if this was going in an album, I probably would have remade it. But because it's just a sample page that I'm doing just for myself, just one of my idea cards, I decided to go ahead and live with it like that. But it also stands as a good reminder, if I'm going to use glue, I don't need that much. Or stick with the score tape. I'm a little glue challenged when it comes to stuff like that. And then again, I have my cutting guide with all of my dimensions here on the back. Now, sometimes on my waterfall cards, what I'll do instead of ribbon is I'll have another 1.5 to 2 inch strip of paper running down that flips up with a magnetic closure and some kind of little element here at the top. You'll see that in a lot of my albums as well. Here's another one that just uses 2 brads with a tie on it and has the photo card, and it flips down. And what's nice about this one is this little design can be used for either landscape or portrait. It can go either way. And on the back, I have my cutting guide with all of my dimensions. This one here, again, has a tie closure to it. I grabbed this because I just loved the rustic look that the paper gave this, and thought the twine would look really nice carrying out that theme throughout it. And this opens that way and that way. And again, sometimes I will use a magnetic closure on these. It really just kind of depends on the album, how much room that I have. And then I have my cutting guide here in the back. This one here is a lot of fun. It has a swing element that's connected with a brad, and you just swing it around out of the way. And this opens up this way, has the photo, and then plenty of room for lots of photos, lots of journaling, lots of ideas that you can do and run with it. And my dimensions. This one is really, really simple. Again, it's another swing one with the brad here up at the top. This swings up out of the way for another picture hidden behind it. Now, I did add this little butterfly element here at the bottom because I was finding with the album, if I tilted it up, this tended to want to swing down towards the bottom. So I put this little butterfly element here just as a stopper, and that seemed to work really well. And I have my dimensions there. All right, so this one came along out of, so just like this butterfly on this card, and then I used the butterfly here. I was looking through all of my dies, looking for this butterfly die, and I came across a die set I had bought a few years ago for card making, and I've never used it. It just got me to thinking. Now, the die itself was too small for this project for my mini album because I was using the 8 1/4 size pages, but it gave me the idea, why not put it in the mini album as well? So I haven't actually used this in a mini album yet, but I think my next project is definitely going to include this. Look how fun this is. When you lift this up, look what happens. Isn't that cool? Has this little pop-up element to it, and I just love that. So I'm definitely going to be looking at using that in my next mini album. You could place photos or journaling or even just decorative things, maybe a photo and then something decoration on every other one or something. But yeah, and then because I don't want to have to do the math twice on it, I have, and when you turn around, I have all of my the cutting guide right here that tells me exactly how I cut it out, where I needed to score at, and yeah, it's gonna be super easy to replicate that for my next album. This page here, I tend to gravitate towards a lot. Almost every mini album I've made so far includes this type of paper on it, this type of page. This little card just slips here into the pocket, holding down this little flap. And then when you lift the flap up, you have an area to put more cards, journaling, photos. And again, it's another super easy one, quick to do. Almost all of my albums include something, this exact pattern or something very close to it. And then I have all of my directions right here on the back. This is another fun one that I include in almost all of my albums. Sometimes I only use 2 cards right here, depending on the paper in the back. If it's a really pretty paper that I don't want to cover up the entire design of whatever paper that I'm using, I'll either have them diagonal to each other or just side by side. But what's fun about this is the element on the front has magnets in it. And that is what's holding these closed. And I only have magnets in this corner here and this corner, and then a magnet here and here. And so it just holds it closed like that. When you take that off and flip them up, and look how many photos that would hold. And then you have spaces for journaling, or you could fill up, you could have 8 photos on that entire page there. And again, this little card was just part of the paper pack that I used. Isn't that pretty? All right, so these 2 cards here are a little different, just because I didn't do any kind of directions or anything on the back. And the reason is what I used on these came from an SVG file that I purchased a little while ago. I will include a link down below of where you can purchase the SVG package. She has a lot of very, very neat elements that can be used for your mini albums. And so that's where these envelopes came from. It was just one envelope. And then if you're not familiar with SVG, it stands for Scalable Vector Graphic. What that means is you are able to change the size according to what you need. So I only had the one envelope size, but that's all I needed because I was able to scale it up to for these other size envelopes. And look how fun this is. So this pops open, has a magnetic closure, and this little card pops out right there. This is attached to the envelope flap right here. And another little card pulls out. And then it lifts up for our largest envelope. And you can place a photo or journaling or whatever you would like there. How fun is that? Isn't that cute? And so I didn't need to put any kind of dimensions or instructions on the back because I know that this is an SVG that I use on my Scan and Cut. I have the Brothers Scan and Cut. I do know that the Cricut and the Silhouette both you can use SVGs in either of those as well, but I have the Brothers Scan and Cut. So I created the 3 different sizes, took the pattern paper to my machine, cut them out, and that's how I got the elements for this page. Now on here, this little element I printed out on my home computer on black cardstock. Yesterday I posted a video on exactly step-by-step how I did that. It sounds crazy to say that I put black cardstock through my laser printer, but of course you wouldn't be able to read it just on its own. However, what I did is I selected the font that I wanted, the size I wanted, printed it out on black cardstock, and then I used this deco foil right here, laid it over the top, and sent it through my laminator, and got this very cool element love notes right there. And I love how that turned out. So again, if you haven't seen it already, check out my video. I believe I titled it, I printed on black cardstock, What Was I Thinking? So yeah, be sure to, if you subscribe to my channel, you'll be able to see the list of all the videos I have. I just posted it yesterday, and I do a step-by-step walkthrough on exactly how I did that. And then this one here as well, I don't have dimensions on the back because this was also part of the SVG package that I purchased. Again, I was able to scale these pockets up to the size that I needed. It already had the score sides on it, so I could score it, fold it over, and glue it down. And then this is just a simple card that I made to put on the inside. You can do photos, journaling. I can slip on to the front or to the back, and then you have this space here for other little elements that you want to include. All right, and this is just a blank paper. I haven't done anything with that yet. The other thing that I like to keep here in my idea box are these photo placement cards. I find really handy when I am designing my mini album, especially if I'm putting it together for a very particular event, or I know exactly what I'm going to be using the album for. These cards come in handy to know whether my photo is going to be portrait or landscape. It can help me with the sizing. So I'm going to bring this one back here into the frame, just as and let me go ahead and move my box out of the way here. So when I'm putting my pages together and when I'm thinking about, such as this little card here, I would open it up, and it's obvious a 4x6 card is just not going to fit that well in it. But if I grab my 3x4s, then I can kind of play around with it. Let's see, I have 2 of them stuck together there. Maybe it'll go like that, or I have in here, where is it? A 4x4 that would look really nice and show really nice pattern paper all the way around it. And so I keep these by my side as I'm doing my page designs, with my photos in mind of the sizes, in orientation of them, and then that kind of helps me make up my mind on what will work for those particular photos. So these are very, very handy, easy to make cards that I would recommend having those within reach to be able to help with your design ideas. All right, let me bring my box back over real quick and close it up here so I can show. So again, here on the top of my box, you can see here I have like this little ticket cutout elements. I cut that out using my brother's ScanNCut from the SVG file on pattern paper, and then stamped over the top of it and inked the edges just to kind of give it an antique look. This little envelope here was also a part of that SVG file. So let me go ahead and pull this out here. And this is a printout of all the different files that actually came in this kit. I got it from Scrap Craftastic. Again, I'll post the link to it down below so that you can go check it out. She just included so many fantastic elements. Here's that ticket file that I used right here. So I just loaded up pattern paper into my ScanNCut, went on to the program, made it the size that I wanted it, and was able to cut it out. She's got different tags and labels, very, very nice elements to be able to use in your mini album. Some different kinds of bows, different shaped tags. This right here, this little pocket is what I used for this little area on my box. I showed that very clear. And then let's see, there's some more bows and somewhere, I don't know if I passed it up yet. There's a really nice file folder. I haven't used that one yet. And somewhere in here, she has that, the envelope element that I used on that one page, but it's definitely here. She has actually a couple of different style envelopes. So like this here would be an envelope, and then there's different little elements that you can use with it. She's even included the card size you need for the envelope, kind of taking the math out of it for you. Here's another style envelope, pockets, another little tag. So this is a great way to get those extra little element style things that you want to include on any of your pages when you're thinking about your design and putting your mini album together. So let's go ahead and as I put these back, so yeah, when I am ready to start doing the actual design of my mini albums, I like to come to this box, kind of pull out the cards that I have here, look through them, see what will work best. Obviously, I don't have a ton of them. I think I have a total of 11 or 12 idea ones here. I do plan on adding quite a few more of them, but I started off with these are my favorites. These are the pages that I find I use the most. And so I hope that gives you some inspiration and some ideas on how to kind of get yourself organized, help with that crafter's block if that happens to you as well. And in my next video, I will show how I do my actual album itself, step by step. And then we'll go into adding these individual pages to that album. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. I do read all of the comments, so please leave a comment down below and tell me what you think of my recipe box here, and then any other suggestions or ideas that you want to add in there as well. I would love to read them. And so I hope this was helpful, and I will see you next time. Bye.